Welcome back to Endless Legend. This time I'm playing the Forgotten, the very cool spy and espionage and infiltration oriented faction, um, with whatever the hell this is, like a weird bird monkey pet. So the Forgotten have a number of features which make them really unique and fun to play. So firstly, we can't use science like normal. We can't see science on tiles, so we certain tiles are worse for us. It's similar to Appetite of Dust from the Broken Lords. Um, and we have to make sure that we don't settle on areas where there's science because, if we do, we're going to lose fids from our tiles, basically. In return, we can spend dust to get science, and we can also use our heroes when infiltrating. So that's a special action heroes could do, and Forgotten heroes are especially good at, to steal technologies from other empires. And in that way, we can sort of get around this disadvantage of not being able to do science ourselves. So dust is extra important for us, and so is influence, because influence is how we're going to activate our infiltrated hero to steal technologies. So we have some unique technologies. We'll discuss them more in the game. The one that stands out for me, I think, is this cool data sanctuary, where you can use these lizards to get free infiltrations during winter, just generally have less infiltration costs, and also be able to predict when seasons change much more accurately. So this is, I think, an interesting choice when you're in winter and you're about to start your first infiltration, because infiltrations can be very expensive influence-wise early. And spending influence on infiltration means you're not spending influence on empire plans, etc. So this is an interesting one to keep an eye on. There's some other ones we might discuss, and also there's some other things about this faction, like if we destroy villages, we get loot from it. So we're sometimes incentivized to attack villages instead of partnering with them. We can also pillage. We started the pillage technology, as we also the search body, which is not that good, but whatever. We start with the ability to pillage, and we're good at pillaging. Also, minus dust cost on military upkeep is never that bad, because again we need dust very much. Also, there's this new dust opportunist skill with Inferno, which allows us to use our spies to steal dust from other empires. So far, I haven't really been impressed by this. Maybe it's better later in the game, but I think it's almost always better. We almost always even save dust by stealing technologies, because you have to spend the dust to steal technologies, and often I'm stealing less dust than I would save by getting a technology. So far this hasn't been effective for me. Maybe it's much better in the end game, but at that point I guess we should probably be swimming in dust if things are going well. As for army units, our army units get extra value because so they have stealth, and they're good at pillaging, so we can use our army units even if we're not fighting to just pillage other factions' villages, get some extra dust and resources, or pillage their extractors. Now, we have a fairly versatile army setup. We have a fast, at least during combat, it's a fast infantry unit, the Assassin, which has dual wield, so it can use two different weapons in each hand, so good damage output, very maneuverable. And also the Mist, our flying unit, is also quite maneuverable. It has a sweeping or a chain attack. And so we have the option to go for maneuverable sort of wraparound army. We also have the option to go for ranged army with these predators. If we're going to play predators, though, we have to sort of commit to them, because they have this debuff called Predator's Mark. And without that debuff proccing a lot, they don't deal that much damage. And to proc that debuff, whenever they attack a target, the next time a predator attacks that target, deals bonus damage. So ideally we have maybe 4 predators shooting at the same target. And then they can do pretty good damage, but you don't want 1 or 2 predators, because then you're not really maximizing their usage, or maximizing their power. So we have a versatile army setup. We can go either ranged or for wrap. Neither of them are, I think, super powerful, but it's good that we have options. And also, again, these army units can harass enemy buildings to gain us some value. Our main victory type is Supremacy? Interesting. I always wonder how these things work. How did they choose it? I mean, with Cultists, it's obviously Supremacy, because well, you can't really win internal victories with one city. But anyway, let's see what victory type we actually get. I almost think our main victory type is economic. I'm gonna stick with. I think it's blue is the color of or purple is the scarf actually. Purple is a fine color. Again, a random world. We want to be. So the air is very aggressive. So in practice games, I've been doing pretty okay, but I just want to make sure I get units up relatively soon around the turn. Or I start thinking about units at technology tier 2 so I don't get overwhelmed. If I haven't yet finished the United Empire playthrough, I'll get back to that. I mean, maybe I'll upload this afterwards, so that won't be relevant. But I just really wanted to play the Forgotten. They're really cool. Also, the cinematic is pretty cool. It's coming up just now. Oops. Well, I mean, this is a cool screenshot. I'm not gonna lie, but I meant to adjust the volume. Yeah, so as you can see, the stealth aspect and assassination aspect of the gameplay is sort of nicely symbolized or depicted in this drawing. And hopefully we'll be sort of outmaneuvering enemy armies, which is sort of part of the fun. Sometimes you get too fancy and you leave your armies away from the city and then you lose the city, so let's not do that.
Ages ago, we were banished by our kin. In fear and shame, they turned their backs on us, closing the door. We survived on a world gone mad by embracing the madness. Thus, shadow and silence became our allies, and they made us strong. Now the time for payment of ancient debts has come. The price will be high, and we will be paid in full.
Okay, so we met a Draken player right away. It's kind of annoying. I prefer to meet less players and be the power in the shadows, very thematically. So, obviously the cinematic is really awesome. And also, because, the Volters, I think, were the people who closed the door on them. So, just confirms that Volters are racist assholes. Or I mean, they basically, like, kicked out all black people, so, like, it doesn't look very good. Which direction are we going in? Generally, we want to scout early, just so we make sure that we settle on the right location. Although, I struggle to think this would be the right location. As you can see, this normally gives a little bit of science, and we're losing that science. So, this start might be a little bit better for other factions. So that is a significant cost, basically, to play in this faction. A significant upside to playing this faction is that we get to start with... we get to basically buy our technologies at the start. So we spend dust to get technologies, but that means we can get technologies very quickly if we have a lot of dust. But the cost ramps up pretty quickly. Oh, well, that's pretty far away, so I'm not going to do that. So basically, we can get technologies very quickly if we have dust, but later on the cost rises quite a lot, so we have to build up pretty substantial dust amounts before we can move past tier 2 or move quickly to tier 3. Here are some of our special technologies. I talked a lot about the Kodatha Sanctuary already. These lizards are pretty solid. But first, obviously, we pick up Mill Foundry. We're going to need that in our city. And next, we can think about Language Square pretty quickly. Because Language Square gets us some value, or gives us something without having to build it in our cities. And we can, in the meantime, we can keep our citizens busy. So this is pretty solid. here, oddly, this location is a bit better. Yeah, this location is probably the best. So we just have to check around. It's not always obvious which location is going to give you the most resources. So here we're gaining 2 food, but we're losing 2 industry. Food is important, but it's important to maintain a balance as well. Yeah, let's just go there. Now we do want to talk to the village in our region as soon as we can get Language Square up. But also we don't have to rush Language Square. We're going to get it reasonably quickly, and Mill Foundry first is important. Because once we have the Mill Foundry up, we can just build lots of things in our city. Here we want to check how whether keeping a work on food will give us a new citizen sooner. Also want to check whether putting someone in industry or putting someone in dust will help us out. I think it's more important to build up our Mill Foundry at the moment though, because a lot of the upgrades you want to get, like Empire Mint, Cultivation, and maybe Alchemist Furnace or Open Pit Mine, all of those require us to already have some industry in our city for them to do much. And so getting the Mill Foundry first is smart, because then we just build everything else a lot faster. We don't need to rush those other technologies, but we do want to rush the Mill Foundry. Now the nice thing about this faction is you get the Mill Foundry on turn 1. I don't think any other faction can do that. So our starting quest is that we have to find a Kazanji village in Melathur and pacify it, because Ziema, our previous leader, was kidnapped, and we have to find her again. Or abducted, or whatever. Where's Melathur? Are these Kazanji? Nope. This one time I practiced game, I found the wrong... I was looking for Eyeless Ones, and I found the wrong Eyeless One village. I was like, okay, let me just pacify these people, and then I didn't get the quest, and I was like, wait. Let's bounce up here. Okay. So here is another faction. Ideally, we don't want to meet them. We can actually pillage from them and spy, I think, without meeting them. And that would be ideal, because we want to get pillaging and spying as part of our playstyle. But Endless is so punishing that we'd prefer not to antagonize anyone. And we got some dust from those ruins, so Language Square it is. And we should party with them. Okay, if we colonize this region, we just pick it up immediately. This is an a volcanic region though, so we would be losing out on food in this region. Which is not the end of the world, but it is also a bit dangerous to play like that. I mean, sometimes volcanic regions are so good that it's worth it. And they give you other stuff in return, like... actually, these tiles give a lot of science, so we're losing that too, so this region might just not be appealing for us at all. Let's just scout it out to make sure. Because if this was an appealing region, we could just colonize it, complete that quest very easily, and that would be that. Let's party with them. Gift a dye to them. Do we have dye? No. Can we get dye very easily? Because if we can't, we might want to attack this region or village and just quickly eliminate it using the militia from our city. And that way we can get some loot from it. Because remember, we gain bonus loot from destroyed villages. Unlike everyone else. Now, what is our next science going to be? As you can see, we can pick up lots of sciences quickly, which allows different play patterns than other factions early in the game. It does slow down dramatically, though. Sometimes you don't have enough dust, and then your science production just lags behind. But at least in the start, your science production is very fast. So I like cultivation, and that's because... okay, firstly, this upgrade it's dependent on timing a bit. As you can see, the winter is coming in at least, or latest 18 turns. And the bonus 10 food we get is not only active during summer. So previously this upgrade was pretty risky, because you picked it and then you only got around to researching it or picking it up pretty late during this summer, and then later winter happened. And for that reason, you didn't get that much value out of it during the first summer. But now, with the Guardians expansion, or which I just recently picked up, my opinion of it has kind of changed. Because Husbandry Center is pretty amazing. It basically means that extra populations working food give you 5 extra food. meaning that you could very easily you can only get in one city, but on that city you can just put most of your population in food, or have to divert less of your population in food to maintain a certain growth rate, meaning that you get a lot of food value from one of your cities. So Husbandry Center is quite powerful, seed storage is quite powerful, and because we've forgotten, we can pick this up really early on turn 2, meaning we can have this built in our city as fast as possible. So I like cultivation a lot more now because I picked up the Guardians expansion, and I like it even more because I'm playing Forgotten and I can make sure that this is the second upgrade I build on my city. So I really like picking up cultivation, especially with the Forgotten, and I think I now really like this upgrade. Previously, it felt somewhat risky or sometimes bad to use, but now I'm pretty happy to build up my food base in my city. Otherwise, Empire Mint is still appealing. Obviously, extra food production. We can also think about picking up Open Pit Mine if we have a good luxury resource in our area. And Alchemist Furnace is basically a must-have as long as we're... If we're thinking about engaging in, or worried about engaging in warfare within the first two trees or tiers of technology, then we absolutely need Alchemist Furnace just to pick up strategic resources like glass steel and titanium. The basic weapons are so much worse than tier 2 titanium on glass steel weapons. So I think Alchemist Furnace is really not optional, at least for us. And also, it would be different if we were located on an island and we didn't expect someone to attack us that quickly, but we're not, so we do. I mean, maybe picking up 8 dye is possible, but also I kind of want the loot. So it's possible to just wait here and try and get the Delvers later, but I'm sort of feeling attacking them and trying to get the bonus loot. Now I'm going to make sure that my militia engage them as well. Oh, damn it, I forgot to... Okay, it worked out fine. As you can see... never mind. I forgot to give orders, so that was terrible. I should have controlled that way better. But, as you can see, our hero, Forgotten heroes are pretty good fighters. They do a ton of damage. And also, during our quest line, I guess spoilers, when we free Zima, she gets... And we return her to her former state, or she gets some amazing weapons, which we can then put on all Forgotten heroes, basically. And we got 10 dye! Ironic. Anyway, so ironic. But we can pop the dye right now and push us up into happiness, and that will also improve our influence production. Which is nice, you know. I mean, typically I don't want to... Because influence actually does matter quite a bit with this faction. I don't want to expand too early, because then I don't have the opportunity to pick up 2 upgrades of my influence. Alright, kind of crushed them. Sorry. Now, again, I have to remember which region this is. Melanther. So it's very important that we try and find that region. Is this Kazaji? No. So maybe it's here. It has to be adjacent to us. So it's important to do that because our quest is pretty crucial to us. And also it sort of determines when it's optimal for us to send our first spy out. Or spy on our first city. Oh no, it's best that we avoid them. We don't want to talk to other civilizations if at all possible. I mean, sometimes we can't help it, like the Morgul have detection. But the Morgul are not very threatening because the AI doesn't know how to play them. I think, at least. They seem like a faction the AI wouldn't know how to play. Alright. Okay, this quest is garbage. Valiant Lightning is okay, but I think you can do better later in the game. It requires so many conditions, like Delvers and Titanium and Glass Steel. We could pacify this region. Maybe I should... Well, maybe I don't want to because it's too close to another empire. Getting their quest is kind of risky. Have I talked to Havelby? Yeah. Again, This territory is it's tempting in some ways, but also the tiles are kind of bad. Yeah, and even like a lot of the bonuses are for science, you see. So it would be interesting if we weren't forgotten, but we are. So I think should maybe give it a pass. So here we can think about whether we want to rush the mill foundry or rush another worker. Well, rush doesn't get it 1 turn earlier. Maybe if we get the worker 1 turn earlier, we can just put it on there and get the mill foundry and the seed storage sooner. Now we have a decent amount of dust per turn, so we don't have to worry too much about that. I do worry a bit about picking up expansions, because we do want a city around turn 20 or a new area. Maybe this is a good choice, although it's also adjacent to this region. Our city will likely be closer to us. Here, the city might have to be there, and that's very far away if we just had reinforcements. This is maybe a better choice, and also there's some anomalies here. Let's just check out the tiles. Yeah, seems solid enough. Just have to be a bit sure that there are no tiles of like less resources for us, because we have science phobic. Okay, I have to activate 2 boosters to prove our wisdom. Not that bad. Maybe that means I want to rush out the spice. Sorry, this open pit mine, so we can get the spices deposit. And spices are really good because they improve our food production. So yeah, I mean, it is a cost to delay empowerment, but also this Founders Memorial for us gives us 10 bonus dust per turn, because we need it. So that's why sometimes the Founders Memorial is different based on different factions. And in this case, it gives us quite a lot of dust. And we have a decent amount of dust production, so I think I can afford to prioritize the luxury resource, because of this quest. We need an expansion pretty soon. Like, I think all of those things, and spices are strong. Like, spices are one of the top tier resources, or at least one of the top tier, low tier luxury resources. Yeah, there we got that. And we can probably pick up enough dust later to. Okay, I think this is the region. So I would like to go back for this temple ruins, but I need to also scout this region to pacify this village. Okay, Himun. Okay, we need to find another adjacent region. Oh boy. Your quest objective is in another village. Before Princess is another castle. Oh no. Oh well. Again, I'm going for the worker first. Food production is very good in this game. It's so good that I almost want to delay expansions more, because building a settler has real costs, basically. The real costs being that you lose out on food production. And if you do it too soon, you really do damage your overall economy. Now, if I want to fight someone, I'm definitely going to have to bring my entire army together. The downside obviously being that we can't scout as much of this army. But it looks like that territory is controlled anyways, so. And this region looks good. I mean, it's no Wonderland, but also it has a powerful minor faction here. Kazanji are good fighting units. They're good for influence gain. Not that we necessarily want minor factions to fight for us, but it is nice to have the option. Okay, we're going to talk to this Nidia village. I think we will. We have been negotiating with too many tribes. You don't want to negotiate with everyone. A, because there's a limit to how many tribes you can negotiate with. And B, because if we pacify, say, this region and Blue controls it, then we've basically done them a favor. We've given them a better settle because they have more pacified villages in that area. So we don't necessarily want to help our opponents out like that, or our possible opponents. Dogeshi village in Himun. So maybe that's here. No, that's an N, not an N. We should bounce this army down. Just being careful to avoid blue. We could buy out this mill foundry at 40 dust. Dust is important to us though. We want to save it. We're not generating that much. And I think we're fine waiting one more turn for industry there. It's not like other factions where industry output is like superior to dust output. Okay, I think we've maybe found the village. Yeah, yeah. These are Dogeshi. Okay. Yeah, I think we found our correct area for that quest. Oh no no! Oh, I met them. Damn it! That's bad. Whatever. As long as we don't share a border with them, we should be fine. Although this area does require us to share a border. Howard? Did I get a quest from Howard? Yeah, I did. I do want this region and this region. So like making a crescent sort of shape. In that case, I should probably position my settlement so I can easily defend it via chokes. Like if I put it here, maybe I can defend like this, and it'll be easier for us to hold an unfavorable engagement there. Or, yeah. I mean, preferably it's better not to meet, but like that's just something that's stupid about the AI, and not really about the. Yeah, it's just something that we're learning how to play against the player who's very scary and cheats. And I really want learning how to play better against, well, average or human players, or whatever. So we have a lot of dust, so we can spend it on this Empire Mint eventually. We don't have to spend it unless we're building it, though. We can. Speaking of which, we should. I think we should rush the seed, or rush, quote unquote. Just get the seed storage out faster. That'll help us get the food automatically. And then afterwards, I think Spice Extractor or Founders Memorial. They're both valuable, I think. I think the Spice Extractor is a little bit more of a priority, so we can maybe get this region. Maybe. We want to link up our armies here, but also the second part of our quest demands that we fight against some units, and we're most likely not to lose everyone if I link up our armies. Alright, we failed that quest. That was weird. Why is the army like this? Nope. That was pretty funky. Sometimes fun things happen in this game. Alright. We're really surrounded by other factions. It's hopefully not too bad. I mean, it's really bad if they all think, or they all try and fight us. But yeah. Given that I haven't converted any faction, maybe I'm just going to expand here and see about the next expansion later. And it's fine to expand a bit more slowly, as long as we're producing food in our main city. I just want to make sure I move those units quickly so that blue doesn't get any ideas. Hence the sort of like, what? Oh no, that's unfortunate. Blue attacked that region. Well, at least we're not expanding towards them, so there's a good side and a bad side to that, obviously. It's good that we don't. Okay, let's just pop this wine booster. I mean, it's good that we don't have to expand close to them, but it's also bad that we don't gain that good expansion location. So definitely want one worker here. Probably want to keep a worker here, actually. At some point we should pick up this Delver's village just for extra population. And again, I do kind of want to wait to expand to like just before turn 20. That way we maximize our influence. Well, that's how we minimize the influence cost. Wait, did we lose this quest? Wait, did we also fail this quest somehow? Was the village attacked? That's irritating. It's especially irritating that we're like surrounded by other factions. That means the start of the game could be quite rough. I guess we might as well. Like this quest is either spending glass steel, spending titanium, or spending or bringing your hero with to do the quest. And we have 2 or 3, so the odds are pretty decent that this will work out. Okay, that's fine. We can spend some glass steel. And we are kind of desperate to pacify a nearby region. And this one looks fine. We even have like a river, have this escape specimen, which is a solid anomaly for us because food and dust are 2 things we're interested in. But we do need to pacify this region. I mean, if another faction just destroys it, we still get our quest completed. But you know, it's preferable to do it peacefully, I think. It's not okay. It's not like we absolutely have to. Yeah, we would like to. So I'm just I'm unlikely to wait till turn 20 because for the Empire Mint, if we're getting the Empire Mint, we're probably getting it. I still like to prioritize the spice extractors. The sooner we get that up, the sooner we can get the spice bonuses, and then the sooner we can get like 50% bonus food, which is pretty good. Although maybe the Empire Mint is a little bit more important for our faction, and also a percentage bonus on top of that. So maybe we should prioritize that. Although we definitely want the extra worker first. And then we can get the Delver's Village. Actually, at that point, we probably do want to think about getting a settler. So yeah, let's not jump the gun on that. We definitely want to complete this quest, though. Hopefully the other faction in this region, whoever they are, doesn't just destroy that. So ideally, you don't want to settle next to other players. Other players being the AI. Because the AI, like, if it shares a border with you, it's more likely to just want to kill you. And that's something we have to be quite afraid of early on in the game, because the AI cheats on resources, meaning that the AI is like just more dangerous than we could hope to be, which is kind of unfortunate from a gameplay. Oh, we can't even do that quest anymore? Bullshit. Okay, it looks like we might have to fight them and or bribe them. And we may have to fight them now. Damn it. That's really annoying. Alright, in that case, I should just scout here with my hero. Okay, did blue do that? I don't think blue attacked this. Maybe there's crave or necrophages. I mean necrocravers, they're basically the same. Come on. Alright, this is unlocked, meaning somebody's reached tier 2 technology. Something we're not that far from, so. We need 2 more, I think. We definitely want this technology, the Predator. We want the Mercenary Market, and we want this Alchemist's Furnace. Those 3 in some order. The Predator is good because A, it's a good unit, but also during our quest, oh, this is great! The Augmented Extractor. So if we get extractors for basic resources, we get more resources from them. So that's very nice, especially since selling them gets us extra dust, which we care about. Anyway, like I was saying, we get the Predators during a part of our main quest, once we just subdue the stupid village. And when we do, we have to have this upgrade, otherwise they're not retrofittable. And if they're not retrofittable, that means that they'll basically suck for the rest of the game. Retrofitting is hugely important. Okay, let's talk to this village. Maybe they're... Okay. Okay, this is easy. We're going to do that anyway. So by turn 20, we should be able to pacify this village, and it can serve as our first expansion location. Or a second expansion location. We might want to go... I think this area is probably a bit more appealing than this area of the Ninja. And the Kazanji are a little bit more appealing than the Ninja. They have a more relevant bonus. So yeah, we do want to kind of get a settler. Let me actually edit the settler, give it a movement speed upgrade. I think that's quite valuable. Before we get a settler, we'd ideally want to get a food upgrade. And also we want the settler to... We don't want the settlement to land before turn 20, basically. At turn 20 is basically ideal, because then we can spend our influence very cleanly to get the tier 2 bonuses. And we kind of want both of them. So there's... Or 2 of those. So there's one that improves our dust production per citizen on dust, and there's one that improves or makes it easier for us to buy our technologies. And both of those are things we want because... Oh, no, okay, they didn't claim this region. So they've expanded. Again, the AI can expand a lot faster than we can. Once we complete the first leg of the quest, on turn 20 here, we want our armies to be able to form up. Oh, there are 3 villages in this area. Now this is the village we have to gain control over. So here I'm just arraying this so that we get a new population unit as we start the settler, because once we start the settler, food production plummets to 0, so then we're not getting extra value out of our food. Unless we've already gotten that. So ideally our food meter is at 0 when our settler hits, because then the extra food, if we have food at bars over here, we've worked for this value, but then we're not getting anything out of it until the settler stops and we can start growing again. So, you know, there's probably other ways of thinking about it, but it's ideal that you line up your food production with your settler starting time. At least I think so. Okay, we pacify this village. And we can just bounce around. We can, because we're invisible, we can think about scouting on neighboring regions. Oh, there are roving clans. Oh, that's great. So roving clans can't declare war, so they're like the only AI faction, which is not absolutely terrifying. I don't want to negotiate. Okay, I guess. We can send our hero out in various directions because they can always snap back to one of our armies. But unlike our armies need to stay relatively close because we need both armies to complete a fight coming up in the main quest. Just as soon as we hit turn 20, you can pacify this village. Hopefully we can... We do want to pick up this region before green does. And we're now incentivized to... move in this direction and expand in this direction. Because A, green is unlikely to attack us even if we share a border. Or it's impossible for green to attack us unless they hire mercenaries, but privateers are terrible. So we're not worried about green. But green is also going to be a good trading partner, I think, in the future. So, and we do want to think about trade because we like Dust a lot. Because Dust gets its extra technologies, but that's probably how we're going to win, is via Dust economy as well. Okay. We can get some extra Dust production here if we want. I'm going to wait till turn 20 when I get that production to get the last technologies of this tree. Even though this is a first tier technology, I'm probably going to get all of them. Because it's just very important that we pick up strategics to get our higher tier weapons, that we get heroes so we can govern our cities, that we get the predator so we have a decent range unit. Yeah. So I think it's fine to get those, even though they are not second tier technologies. I think they're going to be better than the second tier alternatives. That's what you always have to think about, because if you get an extra technology from the first tier, you're basically missing out on the opportunity to have a higher tier technology. So there's always an opportunity cost. While we're all sort of bunched on this continent, but I should have thought about this effect. We have to be the first to activate 4 boosters to pick this up, and we get gold. Okay, that's valuable. We can't activate any boosters at the moment, but we are starting to gather some spice. So that's nice. Spice is nice. So we are at 4, if we can get it down to 3. Okay, we can get it down to 3. We don't need the Predator right now, but we do need the Predator at some point. And again, there's that weird thing where if you don't have the unit design when you get the unit, you can't retrofit them. And that's quite bad, because if a unit can't be retrofitted, it can't either be given the resources it needs, or the upgrades it needs to be actually good. And if units are behind in technology, they just get completely slaughtered by units that are ahead in technology in this game. It might be different if it wasn't like that. I mean, maybe if first tier units with a good strategy could stand their ground against higher tier units, but as the way the game works, they can't, so it's really... I think this Jota's quest was difficult to do. Let me just double check. You need 3 minimum manufacturing units. That's really difficult to do. And it's really not worth it for pacification. Just scouting up here for a hero. Can we talk to them or can we attack them? which they're Jotus. So they are archer units. If we damage our units at this point, we might not have enough to survive the fight coming up in the campaign. So I'm just gonna not do that. We really hope that nobody expands into Menant, though. It would be really unfortunate if that happens. And just kind of bad luck. There's not that much we can do against it, actually. Okay. Okay, they expanded into Tid, which is fine by me. It's reasonably far away from my cities, which I am happy about. Yeah, so unfortunately the way the AI works, it's super dangerous for us to be near the AI because it can potentially crush us. By the way, we can infiltrate the city with our hero if we want. We're going to wait a bit because in our quest there's a quest to infiltrate a city and we don't know which city that is yet. So yeah. Maybe I didn't need to get the Predator or the Settler some pants, but yeah. I mean, by pants I mean better movement. It's a pretty weird term for that, I guess. Okay, they have a Skyfin there, which is fine, because Skyfins can't attack us. Very peaceful. Very nice units, actually. So I'm just saving up dust because I don't need these upgrades right away. I have something to do. And on turn 20, when I get that cost reduction, I'll be saving dust overall. And dust is quite valuable for us. It's quite difficult for us to generate enough to easily get all the technologies we want. So I'm going to be a bit careful about that. I'm going to retreat here. Speaking of being careful here, I can just move my hero up a little bit. It's unfortunate that the hero took some damage there. Maybe I should have paid more attention there, but okay. It is what it is. This area is nice. I mean, these anomalies in particular are very nice. Just gonna assign our hero. Again, we want a sizable infantry force once we complete our quest. And I think I want to expand here. Well, actually, I sort of want the wizards thing, because the bonus happiness on the city is very relevant. Although those tiles are pretty garbage, so this is probably the best location. Yeah, those tiles have science on them, and we can't pick up science. I think at least they do. Yeah, they do have science. This actually gives us the most food and science, or like most. Actually, these resources are they're reasonably close. They're not that close though. Maybe this location is just better because it's easier to expand. Even though the happiness bonus from this is great, it might just be that that's better. And also we have wine booster here, which is great. We can just pick that up next turn, and basically with boosters, like if we have more, firstly we complete that quest, which required us to pick up extra booster extractors on our cities. But also wine and spices are two of the best first tier boosters, or the two best probably actually. Okay, now we first do this. We get this cost reduction on sciences, and we probably this because extra dust is probably necessary. And now we get the opportunity to expand. So we have to do that first because it costs per expansion, but it doesn't cost per expansion at the end of the turn. So we actually plant it here, and then right away we're getting the glass deal. That's almost reasonably enticing, actually. Okay, this location is best for resource maximization. This is best for the glass deal. This is best for the wine at the start, but that's a terrible tile anyways. Yeah, there's not so many great tiles in this location, to be honest. If we were building a city of triangle, we're probably going in this direct, like around here, like in this triangle area. So then all of these locations are fine. I almost want this one. It has as many points, or one less point than this, but the glass deal immediately without having to build the extractor is a reasonable bonus there, actually. And I desperately want these strategics. Getting the Mill Foundry. And we should get this tribe the next turn because they asked us to don't put influence in the military ministry and set the economy and population to 1, which we did. And once we get that, we'll have completed our quest. Everything's coming up nicely. I don't know what that means, but everything's going fine. And now that we got the cost reduction, did we get the cost reduction this turn? I think so. We can just pick up this furnace. And we want the Predator for the quest, and then we want the Mercenary Market, just because Mercenary Market is quite good. Maybe the cost will be reduced now, when the new era starts, and that'll feel like a dump. Oh no, it will! Damn it, I wasted some dust for no reason. Well, I gained a bit of strategic resources. Okay, we need to go... So we've been betrayed by some of our own, and they're hiding over there. We basically need to go and face them. So unfortunately that's a bit... it's slightly far away. But at the end of that, we'll get a quest to infiltrate a city. And that's basically pretty cool. Now we do need to get this Predator technology before we get there. But that should take care of itself, I think. Now in our main city, we can just pick up Husbandry Center for bonus food. And I think we should. We should also pick up the wine extractor as soon as we can. That's going to be hugely beneficial to our empire. Do we want to even spend dust on it? I kind of want to, but I kind of don't. I don't know. I kind of don't. Spending dust is a pretty big deal. Like, if we don't get this Predator in 6 turns, we're just going to get terrible units from that quest. Or, you know. By the way, we haven't got the chance to pillage. I generally don't like to do that unless I'm... I mean, I love pillaging, but I'm also worried that other nations might just decide to attack us. And also, we do share a border with blue now. We do have to be worried about blue randomly attacking us. We could pillage green, because they can't declare war on us. They can only get mad at us. So again, the roving clans, their inability to declare war is a big relief for us, basically, because that means we're not under we're not under the gun. We're not feeling existentially threatened by having a neighbor, which is kind of what endless difficulty is like sometimes. But yeah, again, this husbandry center is pretty amazing. Like, we haven't had winter yet, but it's even good in winter, and it gives you so much extra food for such a low tier technology, and you're only going to have a couple of cities at the start, anyways. It's actually better than public granary, which is somewhat surprising, because public granary costs more to build and is a higher tech tier. It's in a higher tech tier. There, that was difficult. Now, I do want to keep an eye out on these heroes, if at all possible. We'd want one. Unfortunately, there isn't a tier 2 dust improvement, which is kind of part of the struggle of playing this faction. There is this Imperial Highways, which is good. This is excellent because it lets us connect our cities, generate some dust from those trade routes, improve our unit movements, or make our units move faster. We probably want this region as long as we don't meet light green. Does that mean we want to pop out a settler quickly before the husbandry center? Probably yes. Or maybe not, I'm not sure. I do want that region, but our happiness is reasonably low. And building up 2 cities instead of 3 isn't bad, to be honest. You don't have to rush out that many cities, but you can instead focus on developing these cities. Like, we're getting a lot of workers in the city, meaning it's going to be quite strong in the end effect. And I'm kind of the more I play it, the more comfortable I am staying on lower cities for a bit longer. Although having 3 cities is nice because we get more out of our trade routes then. Hopefully we can trade with dark green. To be honest, I'm probably going to try and harass dark green, pick up some of their, or pillage some of their villages here. So you can pillage buildings which aren't cities, basically. Fine day for commerce, indeed. Irony again. So much irony in this playthrough. Really does remind me of that Emperor Palpatine meme, like he could trade with others. But maybe not how he imagined it. So yeah. Yeah, so I think the start is going quite well. I do want to pick up this region because we've pacified the villagers, meaning, again, I care so much about pacifying villagers because it means you start with extra workers in the city, meaning you start with extra production, meaning your city's just better. If it hits winter, I'm definitely building a settler because in winter, food production is lowered, so you lose out on less food. Not that much less because we have this husbandry center, but you know. It's kind of awkward to build husbandry center and then go, you know, I'd be worried about this if they could declare war, but they can't, so I'm not. This is so fortunate to have them on the border. I wish more factions were like that, where you didn't have to worry about them trying to murder you. But sadly, the game is balanced in a very scary way. Really, okay. I mean, really, you do have to be worried about other factions just killing you. It's just part of the game, sadly. We have some Roving Clans heroes, and I really do want to prioritize them because Roving Clans heroes improve your trade a lot, and trade is going to be, I think, an important part of our game here. Not only are we located next to Green, who is a good partner to trade with, even if we have to do so without Green's consent, which we can using Roving Clans heroes. Roving Clans heroes are just the best for trade. But also we need dust to produce extra science, and also influence, obviously. But we need lots of dust. And so in the long term, we're going to have to lean heavily on trade routes. So I think Roving Clans heroes are a good choice. What's also a good choice is picking up this Predator. Because we're about to complete the quest, and that means that we're getting units. But it also means that we have to be able to retrofit these units. If we're not, then we're just going to lose out. Now I'm going to go for these skills because they help us be a better spy. We'll talk about that more in the next episode. Oh, come on! Oh, damn it. Oh, that was so unfortunate. Now we have to... That's awful. So this is army that we have to defeat, but also this is other army over here. And if we retreat and attack this army, then we've lost our action point. And B, we're wounded already. What is the reward for completing this quest? A lot of dust. We do want that dust. I think we have to fight them, although I'm really not happy about this. Okay, I guess we can bottle them up like that. And try and fight them one by one. Maybe that's best. Make our hero do most of the tanking. Because the last thing we want is for them to surround us or get multiple counters off. And normally you'd want to attack enemies with multiple units, but I don't think we want to in this case, because they have a perk which gives them double counter. And basically what that means is that... I wonder if we can attack them like this. It's a bit risky because then they close the gap on us. Let's see if we can move there. I don't think we can though. Okay, it's just going to stay there. It's perfectly fine. Our hero is an amazing combat unit. As you can see, like so much damage and stealth there. Alright. Now we can move over here and see if that works. If not, then our hero maybe takes an extra hit. Not the end of the world. Yeah, and our hero killed that unit, so that's great. So we're actually defeating this army quite handily, so despite my earlier protests, things are going well. Now, the reason I didn't want to wrap around them is because they have this free counter perk, meaning they get extra... We don't get free hits on them by attacking them multiple times, basically. Maybe I shouldn't have attacked with that army. Yeah, I shouldn't have. I took hits on that army where I didn't need to, and that might cost me. Moving that away. Yeah, okay. So I didn't control it perfectly, but I controlled it well enough there. And we got some dust. Unfortunately, innocents died. Yeah, whatever. They attacked me, okay. Dumbasses. Anyway. We did get a nice way to boost our food production. As you can see, putting workers on food just gives us a huge amount of food. And then afterwards, you can get a settler after we've just gained that new unit. Move it here. Unfortunately, we are... Or maybe we can move it here and just wrap around dark green. I mean, we're not getting this village very easily, but maybe that's okay. I would like to assimilate them, but also it costs a lot of influence. We don't have that much influence to play around with. We could pick up the sewer system to get a little boost of influence now. Although, at that point I might as well get Glory of Empire. It's better for that. Or even the Sanctuary. Again, the nice thing about having to buy our technologies, we don't have to get them right away. We don't have to choose in advance. We can wait and maintain flexibility. Key concept over there. Flexibility is important because the later you can make a decision, the more information you have, the more likely you are to make the correct decision. Let me just finish this fight. And we got this augmented extractor, excellent. That means we're getting more wine and spices a turn. In a couple of turns we can pop that spices booster. If we had that dwarf quest still, we could be getting the dwarves. Sadly I'm not Snow White this time. And the dwarves will have to wait. Let's bounce around here. Let's bounce around here. Let's keep this army back. We don't want to lose a unit if we can help it. And we don't desperately need an army unit to fight. They prioritize attacking our hero, which is good because our hero regenerates at the end of the fight. If we lose our hero, not the end of the world. Still bad, but not as bad as it could be. So as we can... actually... Damn it! I lost the unit. I don't think it could reach that far. Okay, losing one unit is not the end of the world. Considering we did 2 fights and we got nice bonuses from that. That's fine. I didn't have to lose that unit though. As you can see, controlling this game is annoying. Okay, we did get there. So basically, the traitors feel repentant and they join us, so that's good. Now we have to see which city we have to infiltrate now. We have to infiltrate from green. That's great. That means we can basically just move over here, start harassing green. Yeah, and just infiltrate the territory. Actually, we could harass blue here. We could unassign this hero. Yeah, and then here's a trick. Create army on city, and then we go to Leneth. And then our hero is here, very close to the border. So now we can quickly move here, quickly infiltrate that city. It's going to cost us most of our influence, but that's just something we have to deal with, I think. If winter starts before then, we can get the Sanctuary to save up that influence, and maybe we should do that. Or we can go for Glory of Empire. But we have, I think, a good start, some decent options here. We probably want to continue wrapping around green, expansion-wise. Aggravate as few players as possible with border friction. But maybe just pick up this village very quickly. You know, some light pillaging never hurt anyone. Well, it did hurt some people, but okay. And we have some predators which we can retrofit later. We did lose an assassin to a mismanagement or micro mismanagement, but you know, those things happen. But I think overall this playthrough is going pretty well so far. I maybe was talking a bit quickly because I think there was a lot to explain in this first episode. But yeah, tune in for the next episode to see how this goes and how we can really start, I guess, getting into gear, start infiltrating, start getting technologies that way, start pillaging regions, start building up our military in preparation of border conflicts. But the main thing is we don't actually necessarily want to fight at this stage. We just want to be sure to get the most out of our infiltration or our sabotaging. We kind of want to follow the Unfallen motto, which is basically to be the power in the shadows and in that way exert control over other factions without necessarily having to do something as, I guess, ham-fisted as invading them. So, thanks again for joining me. I hope you learned something and or enjoyed this episode. And if you did, please consider subscribing to help the channel out. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.